Hold on, brother. 1 second. I'm trying to adjust. Okay. 1 second, brother. All right, that should be good. All right.
Okay, you're back. Can you hear me?
Hey,
Yeah, you froze up last time. I don't know what happened, so I decided to shut it off and try it again.
all right.
Okay. All right, hold on. Let me put my chair up a little bit. All right, that's good. All right, my brother, you ready to get
Yeah, I'm
started?
ready, man.
All right, so just give me 10 seconds and then we'll get right on going in this thing. Yo. What's going on? This is the boy, this is the man, Kevin Anglad, and you are now here tuning into the Wise Guys podcast. We're back again today for another episode of the show, another live edition. As you know, this is season 4 for the culture, and throughout this entire season, we are talking to an abundance of people who are doing really, really great positive things throughout the nation, throughout the country, in regards to, just being black and being, just being people, melanated people of color. So with that being said, today on The Wise Guys, we have a very, very special guest who I'm going to introduce momentarily. But before I introduce him, I would just like to say, um, you know, there's just so much going on right now, so much going on in the world, but nonetheless, we are still persevering. We're still pushing through with the show. All right. So now I will be bringing on my guy, Steven, onto the show, and we'll get a chance to talk with him a little bit more and get into what he does. Hold on, yeah. I think we're having some technical difficulties. Hold on. You good?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. All right. So with that being said, Wise Community, I could go on a spiel forever and talk about this man and talk about what he does, who he is. But if I end up doing that, I could be here for hours at a time, hours at a time. One brief thing I'll say about this gentleman before I bring him onto the show, I connected with him earlier this year due to a fellow colleague of ours by the name of Nicole Miller, who works at Goodwin University. And after getting a chance to connect with him through Nicole, we did a microaggressions conference and as well as panel where we talked about what it's like to be, instructors and educators within the college setting, right? The collegiate setting, and dealing with the microaggressions of racism that is often employed and as well as castigated on us as people of color. And so me and this brother, we connected, we chopped it up. I found out that he was also a writer and an author, such as myself. And, he had gone through a lot, right? He had gone through a lot leading up to the point of him being a writer. And I could go on and on about it, but I don't want to do that because I want him to be able to come on the platform and tell his story. So with that being said, ladies and gents of the Wise Guys, Wise Gals, the Wise Community, please give it up for my brother, my boy, my homie, Steven, Mr. Steven Campbell. Welcome on to the show, brother. How you doing? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed. Thank you for having me, man.
Of course, man. I'm so happy to have you here on the platform. Before we get started, could you please give our audience, the Wise Community, a brief 30-second elevator pitch synopsis about who you are and what you do?
All right. Well, my name's Stephen Campbell. Real quick. So right now I'm an instructor teaching advanced manufacturing. I'm a master's degree student. I got a little less than a year left. And so 5 years ago, about 5.5 years ago, I was released from doing 9.5 years. And, I really started to apply a lot of things that I learned from my journey of incarceration. And now I'm at a point where I'm really starting to see the fruits of my labor. So, you know, I'm more so I'm a firm believer in, you know, reconditioning the mind and, you know, having a strong mind. And if you have that, you could believe you can do anything you want. So
Absolutely. And, you know, with tonight's podcast episode, both live and on the audio formatted side, we're going to talk a lot about reconditioning in that regards and everything you've been through. So great. Cool, cool, cool. First and foremost, brother, before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of everything, I wanted to do two things. The first thing I wanted to do is to congratulate you on your book release. This book right here, See Through Emotions, is a very, 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 very powerful book, my brother. And for this to be your debut, I don't believe it, because this, to me, this is the writing of a veteran, someone who's been writing for years. And I'm sure you have, obviously, right? But this book right here, man, like, it could change lives. That's how powerful it is. I'll definitely say that. The second thing I wanted to say on top of that is, uh, Wise community, as you all know, you guys have been tuning into the show. I've recently made this big transition, this big move coming down to Philly over the summer to pursue my PhD. And so with that being said, Stephen told me when the event was, I was just trying to figure out when the book's going to drop. He told me that, my birthday is going to be on the 26th, and I'm dropping my birthday's going to be on the 26th. That's when I'm dropping the book. And then on the 28th, I'm having the release party on a Thursday. And I was like, oh, man, that's perfect, because I have classes on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I'm off for the rest of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm usually in my office just studying and reading books and getting work done. I was like, you know what? I'm going to drive up there, man. I'm going to drive up to Harvard, surprise my boy, get tickets, and, just pop up on him just to show some support.
Right.
So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'm going to go, check him out. And then in the meantime, I think because I'm doing a long-distance relationship right now, I thought my girl's probably getting off work around that time. I'll surprise her too. Like, yo, I'm in town. What's good? We're going to go to my boy Steve's event. So that turned out to be great. My brother, the event was phenomenal. And I'll tell you what I really, truly loved about the event. I don't know if you noticed this, because I know you were running around doing all these different types of things, talking to people, shaking hands, kissing babies. But what I truly, truly loved about it was that, and I told my girl this, I told Aja this, I said, Aj, he has everybody in the room right now.
Everybody.
He's got hardworking 9-to-5 people. He's got family. He's got, executives in the room. He's got artists in the room. He's got, marketing people in the room. I'm like, I don't see this often. He's got suburban people in the room with urban city people in the room. I'm like, I don't see this often. The fact that this man was able to coalesce everyone and bring everyone in unity together, it shows how much they truly respect this man. And two, it shows how much they truly love him and they admire what it is that he does. How did you feel that night, my brother, just having everybody from family, friends, you probably go way back with, from the block, from high school, all that, to people that you work with right now? How was it that night, just having everyone together in one room to share that very special moment of your book release?
It was amazing. It was amazing. But, I mean, I imagined it to be big. I imagined it to be a nice turnout, nice crowd. I honestly didn't imagine it to be that big. Some people came that I wasn't expecting. You one of them. Like, when I see you, I was like, oh, that's dope. Like, I was real proud to see you. I was real proud to see a lot of people. Everybody that came out. Shout out to everybody that came out. It was a great event. It was very meaningful. It was purpose driven. A lot of things I do nowadays is, it's intentional. It's in purpose driven. But I felt great about the event, and I feel like the outcome of the event, it spoke volumes to what I'm doing and my mission, and people believing in my mission.
Right. I agree with that. And with that being said, I don't think I introduced this wise community, but today's episode of the Wise Guys podcast is officially titled "Not a Statistic." All right. Again, today's episode of the Wise Guys podcast is officially titled "Not a Statistic." So before we fully dive into the book, my brother, let me just ask you this question to kind of give a prelude into it. One, what was your inspiration behind creating the book? And two, how long have you been writing See Through Emotions? Like, what was that process like, again, creating the book? What kind of triggered and initiated it? And how long have you been in the process of writing it altogether?
So what triggered it? COVID triggered it. COVID triggered it. And so I I've been really writing this book in particular since COVID, since March of 2020. You know, that it just, I always knew I was going to write a book, but I didn't know my first book was going to be this book. This is a book of poems. It's 51 poems in the book. And I mean, I just felt like I wanted to give a lot of my life lessons back, you know, and just let people understand, like, more so what I went through, the transition, how I really transcended through my transition, and what it took for me to get to where I'm at, considering, you know, where I've been.
Right. I love it. I love it. One of my favorite poems in the first section of the book, right? Section 1 is called The Past. One of my favorite poems is called True Story, right?
Story.
Yeah. And what I really like about it, I like how you're so gritty and raw with it, you know, just kind of revisiting your past, reflecting upon it, and sharing on how, you know, it not only it made you, and not only sharing on just how it made you, but sharing and providing warnings and a foreboding, in a sense, of the ills to come if one's not careful, right? And one thing I really like about it is when you say you dudes should listen, because that street life y'all brag and glorify about done turned sour. It'll leave you locked in the pen, or even worse, carried by six, straight out the front doors of somebody's church, front row laying in a hearse. Where were you mentally when you wrote that?
I mean, mentally, I was just kind of like reflecting, you know, on like living that street life, just reflecting on, you know, everything that comes with it, and, you know, the things that we take for granted, you know, when you live in that type of lifestyle, and any given second, everything could be turned upside down.
Right.
And I don't feel like enough individuals are mindful of the decisions that they make and the consequences that could follow those decisions. So that's
Right.
kind of like where I was at. And then just putting down, you know, like what I've been through, and, you know, how I found myself, you know, locked up in somebody's penitentiary.
Now let me ask you this. Let's transition into this moving forward. Get a grip, right? If you can get a grip and run the streets without a care in the world, then you got grit, and the truth is you deserve the world. You just got to refocus your energy and plant the right seeds. Then spend time plucking out the weeds that look to stunt the growth of that very seed. I see a connection between that and True Story, in a sense, in terms of running the streets, and then also having to refocus your energy and planting yourself around the right seeds. Could you expound upon that? That's so striking to me when you're just hearing those words.
Nah, that one was dope. So most of these poems I wrote during COVID. It's a few poems that I wrote when I was incarcerated, but that's not one of them. Those two poems I actually wrote, I'm saying, since COVID in 2020. But that one right there, man, that was powerful. Like, cause I just realized that, you know, like we deal with so much, you know, when we running around the streets, and I don't feel like we really give ourselves enough credit to like the true grit that we have. Some people may not ever even heard of what grit is in the term that, you know, academia uses it.
Right.
But grit, you know, more or less is like, you know, having, you know, like resilience and passion, and still being able to beat the odds despite whatever happens. And that's how I would define it. So I felt like, you know, like if we could do all the stuff that we have to do in the streets to make it home at night, and to duck everything we got to duck, the police, to stick up kids, or whatever we got to duck, and make it out of that, I feel like you got grit. But the only thing is, you're not focusing your energy in the right places. So, you know, if you could get a grip and run the streets without a care in the world, then you got grit. The truth is, you deserve the world. You just got to refocus your energy and plant the right seeds. But then it goes deeper than that, because, okay, I plant seeds. Just because you plant seeds, it doesn't mean that that seed is going, you know, blossom and bloom into what you wanted, unless you nurture it. So now you got to spend time plucking out the weeds that's looking to stunt the growth of that very seed. And then the weeds could be symbolic to anything. It could be symbolic to different people that you have around you that isn't conducive to what you want to create, environments that you find yourselves in. conversation. It could be a lot of different things. So you know, you would have to define how, you know, plucking the weeds mean to you. But you know, it's like I feel like with the right type of focus, the right type of grind, and the right type of attention to what you want to create, and making sure that you're not allowing nothing to destroy what you're working on creating, overcome you, then you could do whatever you want. And
Right.
a lot of people that come from, you know, a background, you know, of, you know, the struggle. And when I say struggle, I mean, you know, like inner city or dysfunctional families, trauma, any unfortunate situation you find yourself in, you get through it. You know, I feel like you could get through a lot if you really got the right mindset, the right mental attitude.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Two things. The first thing is conditioning, right? Conditioning. Would you happen to have a see-through emotions somewhere nearby you, by any
And
chance?
I always got see-through emotions by me.
I love it.
Always got it.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Would you be so kind on page 70 to share conditioning, to read that with us?
Conditioning. I got you. So, okay, conditioning. Proper preparation prevents a poor performance. Slow down. Pace yourself. It's about your endurance. Stay focused on your goals because it's easy to get sidetracked. If you slip, don't trip. Just realign yourself and get right back on track. Tap into your inner strength and learn perseverance. It's a mile-high climb to the top. The key is don't stop.
Great, great, excellent. Beautiful, beautifully read. Now, before I ask you this next question, I'm going to ask, could you just please expound upon that one as well and kind of say what your mindset was like when you wrote that?
So I felt like this. The first time I heard about, you know, proper preparation prevents poor performance, you know, I was going through my journey of incarceration, and you know, that resonated with me because I started to really understand the importance of being properly prepared. And I used to say this to myself. I used to say, okay, you know, it's one thing to have an opportunity, but then it's another thing if you have an opportunity, you're not prepared for that opportunity, because then it's just a wasted opportunity and it meant nothing.
Right.
You know, you just let it fall by the wayside. And certain opportunities only come once in a lifetime. So I kind of like made sure I positioned myself to where I was prepared for anything upon my release, because I didn't know what it was going to be like. And that way, when the stage did open up, I was ready to perform. So that's kind of like, you know, and then you got to slow down, you know, because it's a marathon. You know, like there's no easy fix. You know, you really got to put the work in, and you got to put time and effort. So you have to pace yourself. You know, you got to learn, you know, like how to breathe right, and then you know, you got to stay focused on your goals. Like, you really got to keep that at the forefront. Like, you know, everybody, you know, keep your eyes on the prize. You got to keep that at your forefront. That got to be the most important thing, because that's like, you know, that's your why. Your goal, like that's why you're doing it. You're doing it for this type of purpose. So, and you got to understand that, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. If we go back to the basics, right? 1 + 1 = 2. You know, you stick to the plan. Everything's not going to be the way you want it to be. However, if you stay down, right, stay 10 toes down, like you really stay grounded and you firm in what you're doing, and you know yourself well enough to not be swayed when things don't go your way, but understand that if you keep working at this little by little, chipping away here, chipping away there, and you still moving in the direction of your goal, it's going to happen. And you just got to really keep going. You got to keep going, but you got to have that perseverance. You got to have that willpower to keep going. So like, that's kind of like where I was at when I wrote that, because, you know, like I said, you know, I came home in 2016. I got my GED in prison, and I'm a master's degree student. I only been home, 5.5 years. So it wasn't all easy, and it's still not. It'd be rough. And I just never stopped. I just kept going, you know, and I ain't let nothing discourage me. Like, I slipped a lot, but I realigned myself and I got right back on track.
Mm, 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 mm. I love it. I love it. You know, when it comes to the trials and tribulations that you've experienced throughout your life, um, a lot of the things, off the record, you and I have talked about, has really made me think about life differently in terms of, what it's, you know, I can't speak, right? Because obviously you had the experience, but what it's like to be incarcerated, what it's like to go through the system and to, basically become institutionalized in a sense to the point where you don't even remember or know or or recall what it's like to be an ordinary plain human being, right? Whatever that is, being able to move on your own type of time, to be able to express yourself and move at your own pace and have your own agency. And the reason why I say that is because I often get depressed, when I think about the young kids nowadays, right? I get depressed because, for example, I remember I was telling you I was working at that residential facility in Hartford over the last year and a half until I left in July. And now, even within the last, I want to say, let's say somewhere between the last 6 to 8 weeks, it's been nothing but bad news. Our kids are back, in detention. You know what I'm saying? Two of them out of like the last 10 that we've worked with, shot at some people. So now they got attempted murder charges, and ain't no telling what's gonna happen with them. You know what I'm saying? And it just really gets me down because it's like, damn, you put so much work into these kids, and some way, somehow, they find themselves wound into the belly of the beast of the system itself. But then, when I take my time out to kind of think about it, and I think of you, and you come on my mind, or I go to your event, I'm telling you right now, bruh, for me, I had to be there at your event, not only to support you, but to feel like the work I do is not in vain, to know that there's hope. Like, when I went to your event, I was just like, I know, like, what I did, or like the type of work that my peoples do in residential homes or in detention centers. There's going to be another young gentleman who's going to come out of there and who's going to be like Stephen. He's not going to be Stephen. He's going to be whatever his first and last name is, but he's going to be another representation of that. And I was telling my girl this. I was like, yo, we have to be here at this event. It was important. Like, this is like the biggest thing happening in Hartford tonight. Like, this is the biggest event in town because we have to appraise and as well as applaud our brothers who come home and who say that they're going to do what they're going to do, and then they do it and they execute, and here you are. So I told her, I'm like, I don't think people, and I'm not trying to slight the people here. I know people are happy and they're very appreciative of him, but I don't think we even realize the magnitude of this event and the necessity of it, and the imperativeness to really cultivate and champion you, brother, because we need to see more young men who come back home and don't fall into the hands of recidivism. What do you think about that?
I mean, I personally know a lot of people, and it's not enough, but I know a good number of people who really come home and do exactly what they say they're going to do. It's believe me, it's not a walk in the park, because like you said, like, beating the eyes, like a statistic. It's easy to become a statistic, and the numbers say that we're gonna go back. That's what the numbers say, but it's really up to the individual and what the individual does, what the time that he was given, like his preparation in that time, depending on like what type of books you read and what type of conversations you getting yourself involved in, how you really spending your time, because it's difficult to come out and you're not prepared for what you really gonna be faced with. So you really gotta do a lot of conditioning, and you gotta like reprogram yourself to where these decisions that you gonna make now is sort of like, I wouldn't say second nature, but you put a lot of thought into making these decisions. Like you did a lot of, scenario playing in your mind, like, okay, if this happens, how I'm going to handle that? Because it's one thing to say what you're going to do, but then it's another thing to be in the fire, like in it right in your face. And then now it's like the real test is on the line, like what you really going to do, what you made of now, you know, because when the temptation knocks on your door and let's say you trying to get employment or you going to school and you run into a rough patch where what you going to do, where you going to take the easy road and go back to what you know how to do, or you going to really like double down on, nah, like I'm not going back to that. You know, shout out to Big Bruh, shout out to Gus, shout out to Big Bad Vegan. Like I see y'all tuned in too. But it's like you just really gotta be prepared for it, and you gotta double down and know that what you're doing, it may not make sense now, but I promise you, if you keep going and you just focus on today, like if you just focus on what you got, what you apply to get yourself through that bed, that time, whatever you're doing, and you do that same thing out here, it's not gonna be easy, but it's doable. And 1 + 1, I'm gonna go back to that. 1 + 1 = 2. You just gotta really stay down. You know, a lot of people talk about 10 toes down, but I don't know if they really understand like what that means to be 10 toes down. Cause I made a vow, like I ain't want to go back. But no, me not to go back, I had to do things different. I couldn't still do the same things. And if I noticed that I'm hanging around people that's still involved in this type of the type of activities that led me to incarceration in the first place, what's going to end up happening to me? So like to the young dudes, it's like a lot of times they don't even know what they getting themselves into. They really don't, and they so lost. They're not even thinking about 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, and what they're doing today, how that's going to affect them. Because I know I wasn't, So I just hope that something gets through to them to where they wake up, because the reality is, if they really focus at the age they at right now, by the time they hit my age or 30, they could be well off. They could really be in a great position. So it's sad to hear all that's going on, but sometimes people got to hit their bottom. Sometimes
right.
Bottom and really feel like, man, the only way now is up. If or stay at the bottom.
Right. No, I definitely hear that, man. Definitely. Let's do this real quick before we talk a little bit more. Let's give the people of the Wise Guys another poem right now. Can we hear Intuition from you on page 52? I would love to hear you read that one, brother. Intuition.
Page 52. Oh, okay. All right. Intuition. Focus on your inner feelings and learn to create all that you intend. Come on, bruh.
Oh, I'm not there. I can't hear you, brother. Did you mute yourself?
Nah, I didn't mute myself. I'll read it again.
Yeah, please read it again, because I could not hear anything. I hear you now. Yes, please read it one more time, please.
All right. So intuition. Focus on your inner feelings and learn to create all that you intend. Come on, bruh. I ain't playing. This is not for pretend. Learn to vibrate your energy on a higher plane and begin to focus only on the positive things. Walk in alignment and keep your eye on the prize. Allow the universe to work in your favor and you'll be surprised. If nothing else, I hope these words oblige you to stay strong, keep the faith, never give up. In short, keep your eye on the prize. Let nothing distract you and send out only positive vibes.
Man, beautiful reading. This poem right here kind of reminds me of what we were just talking about in regards to the youth and the young kids that are currently going through their trials and tribulations at this very moment and just trying to work and sort those things out and work their way through it. who are you writing to with this poem? Were you writing to yourself at a younger age, or were you talking to like a young homie? Like who is the poem directed to?
Nah, this poem was just written 2020. So I was just at that time, honestly, I remember when I wrote that poem. So you saying, my man ended up sending me a video on the universal, the laws of the universe, and it was talking about vibrating your energy, and I'm big on energy and vibration and making sure that you in alignment. And from that video, like I just my thoughts, everything just started clicking. So I'm like, you know what, I'm about to put something together with that, because I feel like the universe is going to give you what you want, give you what you ask for. And that's why I feel you really got to be mindful of what you putting out in the universe, because it's going to give it right back. It's going to give you, like, it's going to give you what you're saying, what you asked for. So I just was more so writing that poem and expressing how I felt about the universe, and how me being focused and in alignment, the universe been giving me everything I asked for. And I say that because, so in 2020, I was finishing up the bachelor's degree. So when COVID happened, I had a few more months left for the bachelor's degree. And I remember saying before I even got the bachelor's degree that, I'm going to be the commencement speaker. And that's exactly what happened. I put it in the universe and it gave it to me. So it's like, I'm letting it be known, like, come on, bro. Like, I'm not playing. Like, this is for real. Like, you really put it out in the universe. Don't be surprised when it come back. And it's like, I'm really more so trying to give a blueprint and a formula on how I did it. And hopefully a lot of people really take heed to it and apply the lessons that's in this book and create what they want. Like, really create what you want, because that's what it's all about. Like, that's what I'm doing it for. Like, the book, yeah, it's just it's a means to something bigger, but you know what I'm saying, the purpose and the mission behind this is to give a lot of people the insight that I was able to come across, and then just to share it. So we could really build like a community of conscious people, like how you got, the wise community, like conscious people who are focused on what they want, and then they create the life that they want, and understanding that what it comes with, like what you really got to do to get it. Because it's not like you got to give things up, you got to let things go. If you don't let go of certain things, you can't allow new things to come in. You blocking your blessings by holding on to things that's, that shouldn't be held on to at the stage that you're trying to go to in life.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And so with what you're saying, you said something earlier on that I really liked, and I kind of wanted you to expound upon it. We were talking about, recidivism, and we were also talking about people not coming home and not doing exactly what they said they were going to do. But in your instance, you said that you happened to know a couple of people, a good amount of people who actually came home and did exactly what they were going to do, that including yourself as well. So I bring all this up to say, do you think that the media, right, like the media, like when you look at NBC or ABC News or CNN and stuff like that, do you think the media portrays or misportrays the character of the black man today in today's country in regards to him not actually becoming anything of some sort, and also him having to be what's the words, like a harm or a detriment to society? Do you think that black males are misrepresented? Because it seems as if, from growing up and just kind of just observing what I've seen, to me it seems as if like the mainstream media today paints us as villains, and also paints us in such a negative light, in which you think that if you do see a young brother walking on the street, that maybe he did just come out of jail or something like that, or he's about to go back in. So do you think we're misrepresented in the mainstream eyes of the media?
I feel like the media is going to, depict the story that they want to see more of. I feel like the media is going to focus on and exploit the negative. At the end of the day, the way I think about news is bad news sells. Like, that's what's getting them, bad news. Like, people tune in to see, what happened today. They don't really broadcast enough of, in my opinion, you know, what's really going on, the people that, you know, getting out and they doing this. You may see it here and there, but it's sprinkled in. And then on the same time, a lot of times, like, you know, dudes, they just more like, man, I'm just trying to do what I got to do, you know what I'm saying, be out the way. So I feel like not enough people, you know, are voicing or letting their voices be heard, and, you know, sharing with people like what's really going on and how they even overcoming, you know, their trials and tribulations from incarceration, and, you know, what it really took them to go through to get to where they're at now. So I feel like the media is just spinning what people are looking for when they watch the news. Not saying that, you know, like, because, you know, things is happening, but it's other things happening than, you know, black people doing things in a negative light. It's a lot of black people doing things in a positive light too. But I don't feel like the news will benefit off of showing more of that than they will showing more of the negative.
And it's interesting you say that, because that's one of excuse me, that's one of the main reasons why I thought it was so important to not only talk about this, but to, you know, share and highlight your story, and as well as just once again, brother, express my gratitude to you, because again, I was so thrilled to be at your event and to see you being celebrated and you know, praised for something positive. You understand what I'm saying? And not like in a, you know, sad, redemptive, woe is me kind of story. Hey guys, buy my book, because, you know, I've been out for 5 years and I just want you to celebrate me because I made it. No, like, it's more like, I did what I did, but here I am now. I'm better for it. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. I'm back. And, you know, I've been rocking out for the past 5 years. Y'all have grown to love me. If you didn't love me already, y'all have grown to know me. And this is what I accomplished, you know, within the world. Not once did I ever get the vibe at your event that, you know, oh, you know, he was a ex-felon or ex-con who did this, who did that, and look how he changed his life. None of that to me was portrayed, magnified, or glorified. What was shown, depicted, and again, honed in on was the fact that he's Stephen Campbell. He's just Stephen Campbell, and he put out this book. And here's the story about his life attached to it. And I swear, just being in the room and feeling that, that was the greatest feeling, me as a big supporter, a fan, and a brother of yours, I could ever even just get a chance to see in my life. Seriously.
I mean, I never wanted anybody like sympathy, or, you know, I just want people to understand that, like, at the end of the day, you know, we all human. And so to see through emotions, like, everybody go through emotions. I don't care who you are. Everybody goes through it. I still go through emotions, but it's all about how you channel your emotions, how you know, use your emotions to leverage certain situations, and how you controlling your emotions too. Um, I more so just want people to understand that, you know, when you going through life, depending on your circumstances, environment, you know, people that you have that are, you know, like your guardian or people that's raising you or whatever the case may be, you're learning certain mindsets and you're conditioned to think certain ways. And, you know, we don't always make decisions that could put us in the best situation, and that's all right. And you couldn't, you know, you don't beat yourself up, but at some point, if you take ownership, you take accountability, and you really become responsible for your life, you could redirect and restructure the whole narrative of your life if you want to. So you could really redefine who you are at any given moment. You know, so I'm just more in a point where it's like, you know, I'm reintroducing myself. You know, I'm reintroducing myself, and anybody could do it. And I want people to know anybody could do it, regardless of where you've been, or where you at right now. It'll start right now. If you make the choice, but you got to make that choice consecutively over time. You know, it's like it's a compound effect. Anything you do, it builds up to something. So I had to understand, like, how I got in that situation. And then by understanding how I got in that situation, then I could understand how I could get out of the situation. Okay, it's just a series series of events, series of choices that I made over time. So I just started to make different choices over time. And those different choices over time, led to where I'm at right now. And I never wanted to give, the false impression that it just happened overnight. Like I grinded for like, man, Friday night, you know what I'm saying? Friday nights was the night that I made for, you know what I'm saying, my study night. I'd be at Barnes & Noble so much to where, my man would call me and he like, where you at Barnes & Noble? Where you at next Friday? Where you at Barnes & Noble? To the point he'd call me and he'd be like, you at Barnes & Noble? Bro, I'm at Barnes & Noble. But that's the sacrifice I was willing to make. So I feel like you got to be able to define what you want first. And then once you define what you want, then you start to, you start to get strategic in your mind and how you going to take steps to get where you want. So it's just a process, man, and it's simple when you just look at it day by day, because now you're not overwhelming yourself with everything you have to do. You just focus on what I got to do today, and then once you get through the day, you just focus on the next day, and then you just keep going like that.
Right. I hear that. I definitely hear that, man. Gosh, oh man. So I have about a good another 20 minutes with you. So, I want to keep this moving, and, I want to make sure we get to every single point, and as well as a poem that I wanted to focus on and touch on tonight. Page 85, Ideal Woman. We're going to slow it down for the ladies a little bit. I definitely want to hear you spin this one real quick. So, yeah, so 85, Ideal Woman. Would you be so kind, brother, to read that one too?
I got you. Ideal Woman. So this is I wrote this one when I was in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. So I started writing in there. Like I'll never forget, it was a dude, went by the name of Ja. Good dude. He had like 33 years or something like that. And he just took a liking to me. A lot of the older guys, like, they took a liking to me because of how I carried myself. They really thought I was like 28, 29, and I'm like just turning 20. And it was just like how I carried myself. Not that I look older, it was just like how I carried myself.
Yeah.
So he encouraged, like he basically, told me one day, he was like, yo, write something. And I'll never forget, I'm like, bro, write what? He like, bro, I don't know, man, write anything, write something, write about what you see. And that's like how I started getting into like writing. And it was just the way that I expressed my thoughts. It came into what, a poem could be, but I didn't think that I was writing a poem. And then, it was like on and off. Like I would write little journals and stuff, but I wrote this poem just thinking about, the females at the time, and what my ideal woman was. This was like 2008. So ideal woman, someone who's not riding around that nigga's Benz, but instead is holding it down, making her own ends. She's not out in the streets wasting her time. She's going to school, working. Damn, she stay on the grind. She isn't about the childish games, wondering if her man is out fucking. She's content and confident that her man belongs to her, and she's the only one getting his good loving. In public, she's the perfect lady, carrying herself with such style and grace. But when you get in the bedroom, she's willing to do anything just to keep a smile on her man's face. This woman is rare, like a gem. So just know you won't come across her very often. But when y'all do cross paths, embrace her with the death grip, because the only way y'all be separated is if one of y'all is laying in a coffin.
I love that, bro. I love this one so much. And I think the reason why I love it so much, and I'm sure a lot of men could relate to this, is because it's so hard nowadays. Like, like the poem said, right? This woman is rare like a gem. So just know you won't come across her very often. I think it's so hard nowadays to find a loving, genuine, down-ass, loyal chick, like a down-ass, loyal woman, a woman who is going to ride for you, be classy, and in public, but then, what I'm saying, when she home, she really caters to you. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's something, especially as men of color, as black men, that's something that nowadays, and I'm not just going to put it on the women, because us too, as men, we gotta realign and fix ourselves up too. You understand what I'm saying? So I just really like this poem a lot because I think that having an ideal woman in your life, if you know how to treat her right and you know how to take care of her, then obviously she's going to reciprocate and she's going to take care of you. And that's the only way that y'all going to have a very healthy and functional family. So this poem right here, it meant a lot to me because it's just like, I think personally for myself, how much, how much mess I had to sift through in terms of women and what they were going through internally, whether it was because of trauma that they experienced or other things, which led to them not giving me the best version of themselves, And I think this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, whether it's an ideal woman or an ideal man in our communities. And that's something I think that we need to work on. It's it's a need for improvement, right?
Yeah. So it's funny. I was just talking to a guy, and he was saying females are they're fragile, like a flower, and you really got it delicate. And I feel like a lot of times, man, as guys, we growing up, we young, we don't really understand that, and we could do a lot of damage to females. And then what ends up happening is, they're so hurt and scorned that they put up all these different walls, and they don't even know how to deal with their hurt or their trauma or whatever they've been through. And then it just makes it difficult for, them to have a functioning relationship. Or, and then too, I feel like when you have a daughter, it's something special because, how they're looking, I feel like, in my opinion, they're looking to the father to get their first example of what a man should be or how a man should treat a woman. And if they're seeing, because you have some females that it's so, they grew up in such a dysfunctional environment that, they relate love to abuse in some ways. You know what I'm saying? Where if you not yelling at them or abusing them in some form, it's like they don't feel like you love them. But that's that's their conditioning. So it's interesting. But it's like when you find one that's like rare and and she just has this grace about her, and she just carries herself a certain way. It's like you got to understand that in today's time in the society, it's like you not coming across that often. So you just got to understand and appreciate and value women more. That was just kind of like what I was thinking when I wrote that.
No, absolutely, man. That was dope. Again, that was dope. Like that was like a sleeper for me inside the book. And and the reason why I say sleeper is because it's easy to get caught up in like gripping my heat and paradigm shift and can't breathe and scramble. You know what I'm saying? Because as men sometimes we live for that. We live for the thrill of that. But also getting things that are more delicate, more intimate, like an ideal woman, I think is very important in showing the holistic and the whole side of the complete side of you as a person, which I think is really dope. So yeah, before we close out, Pain Runs Deep. If we can get a reading of that from you, and as well as a quick background as to why that is.
Pain Runs Deep. That's the last poem. That's how I closed the book out too.
Talk about it.
All right. So the pain runs deep. The pain runs deep in my veins, behind all the episodes that left our relationship in pieces, well beyond repair. I can't help but to feel shame for the role I played in causing what we shared to explode and vanish in the night's thin air, just like smoke when it raises from the flame, without a trace. Pleasant memories of you begin to fade and dissipate as if our love was never true. But the truth is, I am still deeply in love with you.
Talk about it, brother. I want to hear about this.
Oh, man. So, that one, it's just like me just reflecting on, relationships, and because, I'm a firm believer, anything that happens in my life, for me, I gotta be accountable. I gotta be responsible. I can't, it takes two to tango. I never just put, something on somebody else outside of me, because then I feel like I'm not I'm not being a man about it, and I'm not taking control of my life now. And now I'm saying that anything that happens is external, and I have no control over it. And I don't feel like that's the case. I have 100% control over anything that happens, whether I know it or don't know it. So advertently or inadvertently. So it was just me like just being honest with myself and acknowledging the role that I played in relationships and how just like that, a relationship could be gone, and just like smoke, it could vanish in the air. Pleasant memories of you begin to fade because one thing about when a relationship ends, time's still ticking. It goes on. People still living their lives. You need to get new relationships, and you left with certain memories, pleasant memories, or unpleasant memories. But at some point, they begin to fade. Not saying it might all the way go away. And I feel like everybody had a relationship where it's like they played a role in it coming to an end, but deep down they know they still got love for that individual. They still in love to some degree, but it's just over. It's something that they gotta move on from.
Right. That's very true, man. And no, that's very, very, very true. I've definitely found myself in that situation on, a couple of occasions. So, nah, for sure. I definitely agree. Before we close out today's show and episode of The Wise Guys, I want you to think about this real quick. It's the last thing I'm going to ask you before we officially close out. You've been through a lot in your life, obviously, right? And what it ultimately culminated in is the release of this book, your first release of many, many, many more in See Through Emotions, right?
Yeah.
What's one thing Stephen Campbell of today is 37?
35. You aged me.
35? Did I? Right? I'm pushing it up too much. My bad. 35. Okay, cool. Yeah, we ain't trying to rush it. 35. So what's one thing that Stephen Campbell of 35 would tell Stephen Campbell of 1920? What's one thing that you could tell your 19, 20-year-old self now at the age of 35?
I feel like at 35, if I was looking back to my 19-year-old self, is don't sweat the small stuff and pay attention to patterns. Don't sweat the small stuff and pay attention to patterns. And when I say pay attention to patterns, I'll say if somebody shows you, who they are, they showed you already. So if you continue to deal with them, don't be surprised if they show you again. Don't be surprised they show you again, and learn how to deal with people accordingly and learn how to meet people where they're at.
Right. I like that a lot.
I'll say that.
Absolutely, because that's one thing I often hear.
Like, man, you got the whole world you got the whole world in the palm of your hands. Like, you can do anything you want, man. Just stay focused.
It's true.
Stay focused.
It's very true. I will often hear that. If there's one thing, when someone, I just heard this before, when someone shows you who they truly are, believe them. So I just think that's truly, truly interesting. Excellent, man. Before I let you go, my brother, where can people purchase this lovely book of poetry by yourself, See Through Emotion? Where can they currently get it at this moment in time?
Well, all right. So basically, it was exclusive at the event. So if you missed out on the event, which was dope, it was real dope, you can only get it directly through me. However, the website is in development right now. You could go to the website, royalgenterprise.com, sign up for the newsletter, and then you'll be updated when the new developments, when the website's fully developed. You'll be able to purchase it through there. And I'm also, strongly considering putting it on Amazon. But Go to the website, sign up for the newsletter, and then just stay tuned, and you'll know, I say without another week, where you could purchase the book at. But right now, the only way you could get the book is, direct contact. you know, because I'm all
Right.
about building relationships.
Right.
For me, it's, you know, it's more about, you know, the connections, building relationships, and making an impact. However,
Right.
it is going to be available, you know, through the website, and I'm strongly considering putting it on Amazon.
I love it. I love it. Are you graduating next spring in May 2022?
So yeah, I walk in June 2022, but and, you know, it's one of those where I'll walk, but I still have to finish the semester.
That's
So it's like I'm
fine.
gonna walk. Yeah, it's all right, but you know, like you gonna walk. Once you walk, you in your mind you done, but you
You
still
done,
gotta finish
right?
it. It's like it's a little more pressure because now I walk, you know. However, I still got to finish the semester, and the pressure is on because, you know, if you slack off, you don't finish it. It's like you just walk though. Like how you know. So it's like, but
I get
yeah,
it. I get
I'll
it.
be done officially though in August. The semester will be finished, but I'll walk in June. So yeah, I had a master's
Yeah.
degree, you know, but nah, it's man, it's been a
You
long,
got it,
long
man.
road.
It's been a long journey. It's been a long
Yeah.
journey. You got it,
And,
man. And I'm
shout,
gonna
and
be
shout
there.
out,
I'm
shout
gonna be
out to
there.
you too, man. You know, yeah, PhD out in Temple.
Oh,
That's gonna be
man, stop, man. We can talk about that another time. But this is all about you right now. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. You know, I don't know if it's free for faculty or former faculty, but I'm definitely gonna be there for the graduation, man. I got to see you walk, man. That's gonna put more batteries in my back and more inspiration inside of me. So I'm definitely gonna be there. But my brother, I'm so proud of you. You're an inspiration, truly. I know you often say I am, but you truly are an inspiration, and you've inspired me in a variety of ways in which sometimes you will never know how you've inspired me. Seriously, I appreciate you. I love you, my brother, and I want to continue to see you do bigger and better things, as I know in what you do, because you have such a bright future. Is there another development coming soon? Are you working on a new book currently at all?
Yeah, I'm working on a new book right now, so I'm
Ooh-wee.
put that one out. Yeah, I just, you know,
Okay.
like I said, I'm doing it. I know why I'm doing it. Like I know my why, so it's different.
Right.
So I'm working on putting the next one out. The next one will be out next year, 2022. But
Okay.
yeah, I got a few projects I'm coming on. It's a lot going on. You know, programs. You know, I
Right.
got funded for my first program. Program I worked
Congratulations.
on. Thank you. Now I just finished the first pilot. It was dope, and was real dope about it. You know, two individuals that was in the program came to the book release also. So they already
Mm.
got a free book just by being a participants in my program. They got a book,
Wow.
still came, you know, to support. And because, you know, my thing was if you got a free book, anybody that got a free book, I'm asking for you, if you felt this book was worth it and it has value, I'm asking, you know, support, purchase another one, and then gift it to somebody that you know could be of benefit to. You know, so you know,
Right.
just to help get, you know, the message, because it's more so about, you know, so Royal G is like, you know, it's more as a community. Royal G Enterprise is like, you know, I'm trying to build individuals that, you know, are responsible, they're reliable, you know, they you know, it's just like they they're taking care of their business, you
Hmm.
know, and men and women. So, you know, like Royal G, Royal Gentleman, Royal Goddess, whatever, but just individuals who is really focused and committed on leveling up and just being the best version of themselves. Like royalty, like, you know, we ain't walking around with our pants down. We pull our pants up, like, you know, we presentable for what we want. You know, whatever we say we want, we just coming through and we letting our presence be known, and we not taking no for an answer. So, you know, and then Royal G, you know, recognizing opportunity yields authentic lateral gain.
Mm. I love it, brother. I love it. I love it. Man. Everybody, you heard, man. That's my guy, Steven. That's my brother, Steven, man. Check him out, all right? And also, you can check us out, too, The Wise Guys. We're available across all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, all right? And just keep rocking with us. Keep rocking with Steven and what he got going on. Keep rocking with me as well, what we got going on The Wise Guys as we're closing out the final season. So, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, this is the man, Kevin Anglad, and we've been joined by our very special guest, Stephen Campbell, and we're the Wise Guys. All right? So with that being said, we truly appreciate you. And until next time, stay wise. We out.
Peace.
Peace.